have been a lot of times where it never saw play, and then sometimes you're like, this is the card that Legion wants to play, and vice versa. So it could easily happen with any of these quote unquote meme decks.
Yeah, are there any decks tonight that stand out to you as something you'd like to try and Throne? You know, you've got an ECQ coming up next month, and we've
I
got a
mean,
couple
we're
duels here. All right, setting it down to the action here, looking at Slepher's hand. So pretty nice starting hand here. We've got a really nice curve out for Slepher. You've got Knife Jack on one, Granite and Drone on one. You've got Frontier Jitto, and you've got Bandit Queen coming after that. So pretty nice curve out for Slepher here.
Yeah, Bandit Queen always a great way to end a game when your opponent thinks they might have stabilized. They have a couple of turns. All of a sudden, Bandit Queen makes all that the X amount of turns into no turns. So very powerful card. One of my personal favorite cards in the format. Even though I've lost to it plenty of times, I still think it's a great card.
All right. I think they should know that we can start, but let me just send them a message anyway.
Totally digging the tech with Frontier Jito here. That 1/1 charge. Your units that cost 1 or less have charge. Epic. I thought that thing only saw play in Gauntlet. Clearly, I'm wrong. And I gotta say, it's a pretty dope premium as well. Digging the lava, the flames behind it.
Ah, I see. Looks like Slepher says that Pojo is having some connection issues.
Okay.
All right, so let's see then.
What's the other match?
Rokoku versus Western Cancer. All right, let's switch over to that one while there. Alrighty.
Whoa.
All right, so we've got Western Cancer here down at the bottom, and we've got Rokoku on the Elysian at the top. So we're a little bit familiar with these two decks. We've seen both of these play tonight. Western Cancer looks like they are at their high power already. They were able to stabilize. They're at 17 life, and they've got Zulta Arcanum, Martial Ironthorn, Heart of the Vault, and Great Parliament in hand. They've got to be happy about being at this late in the game, be able to play all these threats, and still be at 17 health.
Yeah, of note, your Rokoko's removal suite in the form of Unstable Form is a bit of a down. Not as effective considering that Western Cancer is playing a bunch of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cost units. So obviously those Unstable Forms aren't going to be that positive. So it's going to be interesting how if you see an aggressive market for those or put those in the market, or if we're just going to see the game plan kind of go where they multiple Unstable Form their own units.
The Unstable Forms have been quite impressive tonight. That's a card that I think flies under the radar a little bit. But in a deck like Rokoku's, it's done some work, and it's been pretty impressive so far. Of course, winning that one game.
Of note, it is a 1 power answer to Kairos. Granted, it's probably going to become like a 13 or a 10/10 golem, but it still stops the power boost as well as the damage on summon effect, which is one of the ways that Kairos wins a lot. So of note, I mean, they're slightly less effective here, but they're not completely ineffective.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right,
ooh, oh boy, let's see. Ooh, Akantha. So yeah, that's a pretty good draw. It being a 7/7 flyer is really solid, and obviously having a cut ties attached to it when it enters the battlefield is really good. It is going to deal. Interesting, though, because there are plenty of targets on Rokoku's side. You could go for the Yorja, or you could take out one of their draw engines in the form of the 2 Sodis. So, I mean, Rokoku is at a slight power disadvantage, but definitely far from being out of this game. Now, of note, we are seeing a position where maybe having a one of stable form. Let's see. Okay.
All right. Looks like my Eternal crashed there. I apologize. You can keep talking us through what's happening there, Jedi, but I'm going to refresh real quick.
No worries. We're going to see an unstable form is going to stop the permafrost. Oh, and sure enough, Martial Ironthorn gets activated, clearing Rokoku's board, and then we're going to see an alpha swing here from Western Cancer with only a merchant in play. The merchant's going to block the 1/3 devotee, deciding not to die, and then everything's going to get in, taking Rokoku down to 6. Oh no. Western Cancer still has a 0.504 blockers back, and a crystallize comes down for Rokoku. So this is gonna this is gonna stun all the units for 2 turns. Oh nope, never mind. They attack with a berserked merchant and then call it quits and concede, giving the game to Western Cancer.
Nice. All right, Western Cancer up 1 game there. And again, remember, these are win and ins for these 2 players. Win, and they make it into the top 4. All right.
While you're loading up, I'm going to take a sneak peek and see if not Yurikyu, I'm sorry, if Slepher and LocoPojo are able to play yet.
It does look like they're back. Okay, so I'm back on here as well. So it looks like Slepher is at 27 health. Got quite a massive board here against LocoPojo at 18 health with an active Ramba out.
Ooh, man, this is tough. This is tough. Slepher has it all, has a torch. If they don't want to fire off the rally, they have the rally should they have good attacks. And then obviously next turn, as soon as they get their power, Bandit Queen's going to come down. So yeah, sure enough, Ramba blocks the charge, the Frontier Jito, but sadly meets his end with Torch following up. Eternity Core for LocoPojo means that, okay, there we go. And a Trailmaker coming down does give him a blocker. LocoPojo goes up to 10 power. Only 1 Justice Influence, only 2 Fire Influence, but there's the 4th power for Slepher. And here comes the Bandit Queen, swinging and bumping the team, and the gang's all here.
Bandit Queen doing what she does best, ending games. And this does look like the same opening hand that we had seen when we were on this earlier. So that hand opening there, pretty nice for Slepher, pretty nice curve out there. And a nice way is going to go ahead and take that game 1 there. So Slepher up a game as well.
Like Bandit Queen says, you can leave here with your life, or can't take both.
All right. All right, so Slepher, if they win this next one, they're in the top 4, joining our 3-0 players.
Yeah, very interesting, going super low to the ground, and I could see the advantage to this because a lot of these decks are just kind of starting to steer away from having more of a mid-range. You know, we're not seeing the Surox or Urox. We're not seeing some, you know, granted, I will give credit. There is some martial art thorns running down as a 5-drop, but a lot of these decks are just either going with all the mana dorks or power accelerants and then their top end and that mid game. So these strategies that Slepher is playing where it's super low to the ground, trying to get underneath them before they could get set up, does have some merit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is this really low to the ground? We used to see Bandit Queen decks, well, what was it? I mean, a year ago, be really competitive, but we really haven't seen that on the map in the last few months. Is that something you would take to Throne Ladder? Do you think there's a spot for Bandit Queen decks, and if you're trying to make the run right now, is that something you'd bring?
I think there's always a spot for Bandit Queen. Just the explosive nature of it. I think the issue is the prevalence of Sandstorm Titan. I think and that's the thing, Tokas has made that thing where, like, of note, because they focused on their top end, you're not seeing any behemoths, you're not seeing any Sandstorm Times, which is essentially a hard counter to those style of Bandit Queen decks. So I think as the meta keeps shifting over to Grodov and Zolta, where they're splashing green, they're being a little greedier with their power bases, they're trying to really go over the top of one another. I think by natural correction, these Bandit Queen style decks can come back in a pocket and put up some really good numbers.
All right, so we're going to game 2 here now. Slepher with 3 1-drops, the triple 1-drop hand, the Grenadin Drone, the Oni Ronin, and the Bloodseeker. I like this Bloodseeker card. When I saw this card get spoiled, now I know it hasn't been quite as impactful as we thought when it first got spoiled, but man, a 1 power 2/3 with upside, pretty powerful card.
Yeah, no kidding. I think I did see both Sunnyvale and Cassendrath, both avid Eternal streamers, put this into their constructed decks for Expedition, and that kind of started to put it on the map. Sunnyvale with a more mill strategy, and Cassendrath simply just wanting aggressive 1 and 2 drops for their mono shadow deck. So the card has surprisingly impressed people. There was a slight variation of it in Magic, And forgive me, I forget the name of it now, but it saw a lot of play for the extent that it was in standard and a little bit modern. So this card has the potential of getting there. Granted, that one was based off of power and not void, but I mean, it's not unheard of. And we see an empty board on LocoPojo's side, and then 5 units about to be 6 and 7
and
on Selfer's side.
and giving the
That
Oni Ronin charge. I mean, that what a curve out. You can't ask for a better curve out hand from Slepher there.
yeah, I mean, it just and LocoPojo's that's it.
That's just it. That's just it. I don't know what you're supposed to do in LocoPojo seat there. Wow.
Yeah, and that's the shift, and that's where the self-correcting meta happens. Where when we see these decks stop playing Defiance, stop playing Torch, stop playing Char and Hailstorm, all these cards that from some decks were auto includes. It's like, yep, four Defiance, four Vanquish automatically.
Yep.
Now we're starting to see these decks lean away from that to make more room for ramp spells, and so all these aggressive decks have their window now to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, congratulations, Slepher, for that win, getting into the top 4, going 3-1 tonight. And here is the other critical 2-1 match. We've got Western Cancer versus Rokoku here. Who took game 1 of this one? Can you remind us?
It was Western Cancer.
All right, so Western Cancer up a game here. I believe this is game 2. Although they are a little bit on the back foot here at only 6 health. It looks like they've got a pretty good board, though.
Oh no, we missed the activation of Yorja, which I'm assuming is what made the Stone Shell Walker and the Cabal Recruiter, or the helpful Doorbot. I guess that could have been a thing as well.
Western Cancer just throwing out all of their units out on the board, saying we're not taking 6 from anything here.
Once again, we go back to that thing of not having any reach. Don't get me wrong, like I get their theme, but when you're in Elysian colors, you have access to a little bit of reach in certain things, and sometimes it behooves you to have it just as a safety valve. But so do Spell Shaper coming down. Let's see what they're going to bounce. Would not be surprised if it's the Togas or probably the Lumen, probably the 5/3 Lumen. Yeah, sure enough, we see the 5/3 Pensive Lumen go back to the board, gets transformed into a Bereaved Stranger, and then a 6/6 with Overwhelm and a 5/7 come into the red zone. Let's see. Western Cancer going to put everything in front of the Walker, trying to and then Bot, being the friend that it is, taking the 5 damage from Yorja. Not like a team player. Of note, Western Cancer decided. Ooh, look, notice though, Western Cancer does have a Marsh Dragon in their hand off of the Equivocate, I'm assuming. So, and they just fed 4 units to the board. Now that Marsh Dragon is good, if they play it, they're going to be able to sack, let's see, probably the 1/4 and then gain 9 life off of that.
Actually,
so that is an option.
Gain 9 life here is actually going to make this pretty close there, because Rokoku is definitely just trying to get Western dead here, and that's actually going to backfire a little bit. Western Cancer going to be able to gain all the health they need back here to not really be at a threat of dying here, and probably going to be able to turn the corner here with Rokoku only at 12. It's not going to take that much.
He didn't. Western Cancer did not sacrifice a unit here.
Oh, wow. Maybe they don't even need to. I mean, maybe their board presence is so strong they don't need to. Now, is Rokoku playing the unstable forms? Can they... you have 2 flying blockers, but...
I mean... Don't get me wrong. I like obviously knowing the deck, understanding that just flooding the board is going to get you there. But I mean, why not give yourself a cushion? Oh God, can Gunsmith do it? Oh my God, so many limited All Stars coming out.
Actually,
this is hilarious.
That's incredible right there. It's going to do a lot of damage.
Maybe not. Like, there's going to have to be some blocking done here. So sadly, it's not going to be the lethal spell, but we'll see what's going on here. And tell you what, you're just doing some work here. Man, see, and that dragon would have been a 3/10. It would have easily blocked anything on the board. I mean, I don't think Western Cancer. What do you think, chat? Would you have sacked something to the dragon there or no? Let us know in chat what you would have done.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think Western Cancer had enough units to do it. Now it might not end up mattering because I think they just have lethal here.
Well, now they do.
Now they definitely do, but yeah.
Play Kairos, then play Gunsmith and double damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
That's a lot of damage. I think even without Kairos, they probably had lethal, but it would have been close. But this is more than lethal.
Oh, Great Parliament will definitely do it as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
Machine gun, yes. Yes.
Wow.
Good job. Shout out to Direwolf Digital for having some amazing animation there. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. Good job.
That
Shout out
was
to
pretty
Direwolf.
great.
Well played on behalf of both these players.
Well played. Congratulations, Western Cancer, for taking that win and locking in their spot to the top 4. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Rikoku, for bringing this innovative deck. Gotta say though, there's some merit to it.
Alrighty, let's see. I think we're gonna get to see the 2-0s play in the playoffs. So let's switch over and get a chance to see our last chance to see someone else here, and we'll take it down to John Holio versus YI Salty. Let's see this one here. John Holio at 21 health here with YI Salty at 3. They've got a shifted Rost, my personal favorite card in all of Eternal.
Oh, but here we go. 6 damage torch is gonna make short order. Sure enough, the ending that we just talked about. Static Bolt getting pumped with the Fate trigger. Yeah, and YI Salty calls it in.
And John Holio is going to take that one 2-1. All right. Let's see. I believe so. All the other matches are finished except for Yurikyu versus Tempest Dragon King. So we're gonna get a quick preview of the decks that we're gonna be seeing in the top 4 here. So you've got Tempest Dragon King at the bottom on the Cultist deck, and we've got Yurikyu on the Stonescar deck at the top. Things aren't looking good for Tempest Dragon King here, though. Facing down a pair of 4/5 war leaders and a 4/4. Although they are going to get a nice turnaround here. They're going to be able to steal the unit, pump the war leader, and then sack it with worthy cost to be able to kill the other worthy leader. All right. That's a pretty nice turnaround. Oh, they did not, though. It was not enough to kill the war leader. They did not have enough units in the void.
Yep. And then Champion doing what Champion does best.
Yeah, Champion is going to be tough here. Well, getting back Faithful.
Okay, okay. Argentborn Instigator being a decent nullifier of the whole residual sacking value. Ooh, that was close. Well, now the problem is too is that you want to drop Tazboo because it's a great blocker, but you might not have the life to do it.
Yeah, that is one of the drawbacks of Tazboo is you will take damage.
I would not be surprised to see a Xenon Temple come down here.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, hopefully kind of clear some of the board off, maybe cause Yurikyu to attack the board. Well, no,
yeah.
I just don't see Yurikyu going anywhere but face at this point.
Yeah, but I think you got to do that to get the Instigator off the board.
Yeah, and then hopefully it survives, so next turn you could draw 2 life off the Augur, 3 life correction.
Ooh, Smuggler is going to get something to go face, I'm sure.
Yeah, if not, it's going to get the Edict to deal with stuff. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
there, yep.
Yeah.
That's going to deal with that, and that's going to be lethal. And Yurikyu is going to take this